You probably have heard doing meaningful jobs and meeting meaningful people. It sounds so meaningful, right? Many people are struggling with what meaningful jobs and what meaningful people are, though. Searching for and pursuing the meaning of life has become a very significant debate and confusion among many talented people like you and me in different fields, in different cultures, and for centuries. Obviously, this pursuit is very important because it can be the most positive life engine that fuels us to carry on with the most vigorous energies and spirits. On the other hand, it can be the most negative killer that easily depresses of our existential fans and pushes us into immense depressive abyss. Even makes us to say forever goodbye to the world. So, what's the meaning of life? What do we exist here for? In this video, I will discover all kinds of meaning of life for you. There are not only discoveries from philosophers about the 4 Ws, also psychologists, neuroscientists, sociologists, biologists, and physicists, and from the ordinary you and me. Let's discover the meaning of life in all kinds of fields. Ready? Go! Psychology. Is the meaning of life a sense of life satisfaction and fulfillment? If yes, researchers from positive psychology study empirical factors that lead to life satisfaction. For engagement in activities, making a further contribution by utilizing one's personal strengths, and meaning by investing in something larger than itself. Large data studies of flow experiences have consistently suggested that humans experience meaning and fulfillment when mastering challenging targets, and that the experience comes from the way tasks are approached and performed rather than the particular choice of task. For example, flow experiences can be obtained by prisoners in concentration camps with meaningful factories, and occur only slightly more often in millionaires. A classic example is of 2 workers on a apparently boring production line in a factory. One treats the work as a tedious chore, while the other turns it into a game to see how fast it can make each unit and achieve flow in the process. Neuroscience. Is the meaning of life a maximum pleasure and values? If yes, researchers in positive psychology and in neuroscience have worked on pleasure and motivation in terms of neurotransmitter activity, especially in the limbic system and the ventral-tegmental area in particular. If one believes the meaning of life is to maximize pleasure and ease to general life, then this allows normative predictions about how to act to achieve this. The pleasure can begin from both the innate and the cultures, which are shaped from religion, social norms, and specific ethics. Be good to others and make contributions to the society. Biology. Is the meaning of life the evolution? If yes, the process by which different life forms have developed through history, where genetic mutation and natural selection is explained by evolution, based on insight gleaned from the gene-centered view of evolution. Biologists George C. Williams and Richard Dawkins and David Icke, among others, concluded that if there is a primary function of life, it is the replication of DNA and the survival of one's genes. Biologists generally agree that life forms are self-organizing systems which regulate their internal environments as to maintain this organized state. Metabolism serves to provide energy, and reproduction causes life to continue over a span of multiple generations. Typically, organisms are responsive to stimuli and genetic information changes from generation to generation, resulting in adaptation through evolution. This optimizes the chance of survival for the individual organism and its resonance respectively. So our ancestors' existence make up ours. For about 7 million years, human, as one species on the earth, have been evolving all the time. Physics is meaning of life, the increase of entropy. Yes, as physicists always discover all kinds of mystery laws in our universe, they find the meaning of life is about entropy. Entropy, a thermodynamic quantity representing the inability of a system to move energy for conversion into mechanical work, often interpreted as the degree of disorder and randomness in a system. Simply put, a measure of disorder or randomness. Physically, one may say that life faces a negative entropy, which refers to the process by which living entities decrease their internal entropy at the expense of some form of energy taken in from the environment. Such a theory is fantastic because our declining bodies, exhausted relationship, and almost come and go everything in our daily life can be explained by the work of entropy. Mind-blowing? No worries. Here philosophy comes. Philosophy is meaning of life. Never will you know how early our ancestors began to think and ask the meaning of life until you know Plato. As one of the earliest, the most influential philosophers, Plato believed the meaning of life is in obtaining the highest form of knowledge, which is the ideal form of good, which from all good and just things derive utility and values. Just acquire knowledge? What a nerd! But Aristotle, apprentice of Plato, was another early and influential philosopher, argued that aesthetical knowledge is not certain knowledge, but is a general knowledge, and he believes it is not only a theoretical discipline. A person has to study and practice in order to become good, to do something happy, flourishing, and excellent to make your life meaningful. What a doer! However, something happy, flourishing, and excellent is rare in one's life. More often, life is more about thorough and pains. So, Zeno of City and his Stoicism come up. The meaning of life is freedom from suffering, through being objective and having clear judgment, not indifference. But all these personal, preferential, and reasoning answers are not entirely suitable for a more complex modern life, with more developed national and social systems and faster industrial life peace. So new thinkers come up. Early thinkers such as John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Adam Smith saw humankind beginning in the states of nature, then finding meaning for existence through labor and property, and using social contracts to create an environment that supports those efforts. But it is not enough. Only in Europe, pragmatism originated in the late 19th century in the United States, concerning itself most with truth, and positioning that only in struggle with the environment do data and derived theories have meaning, and that the consequences like utility and practicality. Moreover, pragmatism possesses that anything useful and practical is not always true. What most contributed to the most human good in long course is true. No wonder pragmatic people work so hard. As time goes, postmodernism in 20th century, anything resembling a meaning of life in postmodernist terms can only be understood within a social and linguistic framework and must be pursued as an escape from the power structures that are already embedded in all forms of speech and interaction. See, in the last 2,000 years, in Western culture, in different historical phases, and in different people's eyes, the meaning of life has been always changing along people's beliefs and secular needs. And in Eastern culture, people have heritage and merged Confucian, Taoism, Buddhism created thousands of years ago with people's changing modern lifestyle to define and debate the meaning of life. If you are bothered by the meaning of life, congratulations! You are looking to the deeper you in spiritual world, and you are on the way of reinventing the more powerful you. The meaning of life is the self-convince of your existence. It's a connection between your motivation and your targets. It's a bridge linked to your passion and will. Sometimes the meaning of your life is defined by social conventions in the society where you happen to come and live. Family religions, national and social institutions, and cultural influence. Sometimes the meaning of your life is defined by your positive choices with your self-realization and rebellion. This way, the meaning of your life is not from anything others throw into you or define for you, but your willingness to search for and fit into what you want to do and what you want to be. The most lucky thing is, today, in the age of information explosion, you are standing in front of tremendous life choices for your meaning of life. And with the fastest ever life pace in different growth phases and different global areas, you are free to choose various meaning of life to complete what you are. Wait, what if life is meaningless? Good question. Watch my another 2 videos about life is meaningless.